Warning, we're going to be discussing events for currently running weekly anime.
If you want to avoid spoilers for certain shows, there are timestamps in the description.
Welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. Go to our merch store and buy our Opie mouse pads today.
We have a merch store? We have Opie mouse pads?
It's of you.
Yeah, why didn't you? What?
Yeah, specifically you.
Why
it's great.
me?
They're selling like
week-old hotcakes?
Yeah. Anyway, it's week 7 of winter 2019. We're officially over the hump.
Yup.
And we're on the ride back down to the end of the season.
We recently did our mid-season review, speaking of that, where we just kind of talked about our impressions of this season so far, and the quick summary of that. It's been a pretty good season.
Yeah, pretty good. We just saw the Crunchyroll Anime Awards recently, and that was a experience.
Experience, huh? How do you mean?
It was fun. I'll
Yeah.
say that, but it was also kind of cringy.
I agree. Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. I appreciate them for doing that and actually wanting to have fun with it. But yeah, I agree. It was pretty cringy at times. I think again, they're a fairly new award show, so they're still just trying to figure things out, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't. So obviously, some things are going to work out better than others.
Yeah, Glass Reflection. He looked like he was going to explode when they didn't put Makia in the category for those films.
Which I've heard Maki is an amazing film.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I've also heard. I really liked that specifically because I respect when somebody goes on a show and doesn't just parrot an opinion.
Yeah,
just because they're like, oh, I got hired, so I have to do the right thing. I respect when somebody gets hired to do something and still voices their own opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, that Kotaro cosplay was pretty cool.
Well, but to be fair, that actually is more akin to his actual outfit. He always kind of wears a red vest like that anytime he does reviews. Anyway,
well, he specifically said,
yeah,
that's what he was going for, on his Twitter.
I kind of figured it would be something like that. Either way, it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, got to see Jeff Thune.
Jeff Thu.
Thu?
From
Mother's Basement.
Thune is a thing in freaking Magic the Gathering, dude.
Anyway, but yeah, it was cool to see him up there. I love his stuff.
Yeah. He was one of the major announcers for Anime of the Year, which I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. He's the anime pope, after all.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun watch. Twitch chat was a mess, like it always is.
Yeah, it's Twitch chat. Don't expect too much. They went well out of their way to show you that this was sponsored by Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, yeah, Devil May Cry, baby.
Yeah. Which, should we mention, if you guys haven't seen it, should we mention who the actual winner of Anime of the Year was?
Yeah, everyone knows at this point.
Yeah.
It's everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, it's Devilman.
Yeah,
which,
that surprised me.
I'm not entirely surprised. Devilman had a huge following behind it, and it was definitely something that carried on throughout the entire year. Which, being a show from winter, that's pretty impressive and shows its staying power.
Yeah,
but
it was definitely a silent vote because everywhere on the internet, everyone that was vocal was talking about Place Further in the Universe. I want to vote for this. This is gonna win.
I personally voted for Place Further Than the Universe.
And it was just bam, Devilman out of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm not disappointed with that choice because as someone who watched all of Devilman, it was an amazing series.
Yeah,
I adored it. Yeah.
Anyway, not talking about that for too long. Let's move on to some news.
Yes, our news correspondent, everybody.
First up, we got Danmachi's gonna get a second season. For the uninitiated, that is it wrong to try to pick up girls in the dungeon? The second season is slated to premiere this summer.
There was a spin-off series of it fairly recently.
Yeah. It was a spin-off about the blonde chick.
Yeah, the main girl, the one who saved Belle, I believe his name was, in the first place?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I fell in love with her.
I've never seen Danmachi, so I have no opinion of it, really.
It's a fun little, it's a generic isekai, or not isekai, but it's a video game world, I guess, where everyone has stats and everything.
It's pretty much an isekai, except it's video game.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not isekai at all because there's no going to another world. It's just they're in a world that has RPG rules.
So it's in that sense, it's kind of like Log Horizon.
well, no, Log Horizon is an isekai. These guys started in this world instead of traveling to it. Anyway, then we got the Rising of Shield Hero English dub finally started.
Yeah, all 6 episodes are available on Crunchyroll now.
They figured out whatever kind of fucked up licensing issues they were having.
Yeah, I was confused about that, but at the same time, if all of it is licensed and dubbed now, that's totally cool with me.
Yeah, it is, and because they announced that future episodes are going to debut simultaneously with Japan.
Now, that's actually pretty cool. Eat your heart out, Funimation.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anything else as far as news goes?
Yeah, Production IG is going to make a hand-drawn anime in 4K for Netflix in fall. Which, no details about the show yet, but they're like, yeah, we're going to make a really, really good-looking show.
Okay. Let me see if I caught all that right. Hand-drawn, 4K, Production IG. Did I get all the details?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's ambitious, for sure.
Yeah, fucking hand-drawn 4K, that's so much work.
Yeah.
If they're drawing it in full resolution, I imagine there will be some kind of upscaling.
Probably.
Just because that's, like, I don't know all the details. I'm not a science.
Yeah. Now, I just want to say that that they did this is going to be for an entire series. For something that took, something that immediately comes to mind with every panel being hand-drawn was Redline. That took over 7 years of work.
Hand-drawn anime and entirely hand-drawn is two different things. Mm-hmm. I doubt they're going to do it entirely hand-drawn, because there's probably going to be a lot of, digital effects and everything like that.
Probably.
But like, Megalobox is a good example. It was hand-drawn, but it wasn't entirely hand-drawn.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Redline, that was an exception. That never happens anymore, and that was fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, Redline, if you guys have not seen Redline, you owe it to yourselves to see Redline, because that film didn't do as well, at theaters as it should have. And it definitely needs all the support that it gets now.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's absolutely freaking gorgeous to watch, and it's just so much fun. It's like Gurren Lagann and not Space Dandy, although the voice actor for Space Dandy is in the dub there, Patrick Sates.
Yeah.
In Speed Racer is the other show I was thinking of. Gurren Lagann and Speed Racer.
That's a good way to summarize it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just watch that if you haven't already. That has our seal of approval.
But 4K anime this fall, Production AG. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna do it for. Well, do you have anything else for news?
No, not particularly. Okay. You're our main news correspondent here.
All right, I don't want to cut you off just in case.
No, I understand and I appreciate it. But yeah, I haven't heard of anything particularly news related. Just Crunchyroll Anime Awards on the mind still.
All right. So, week 7, winter 2019. First off, starting with Boogiepop and Others.
Alright. I know I've said this before. I'll continue saying it probably until the series ends. The psychology in this show is freaking brilliant. It is so much fun to watch all the psychological stuff in this series.
Yeah. The beginning conversation with Suima and Jin.
Oh god, that was so unsettling to watch. I just felt like I got chills just watching that conversation, especially watching how quick Jin changed from being intimidating and just trying to play it off. It's almost like he knew what game he was playing, but he wanted to play it off, but at the same time he did it because he knew that nobody would believe, just to sort of manufacture some form of doubt in her.
Well, he puts the offer out there of I can fix all the problems you're having. And if she says yes, then he'll do it.
Yeah.
And if she says no, he just has the charisma to instantly snap back to a happy teacher man.
I want to point out that when Suima was trying to get him to confess what he'd been doing, because she saw it, she saw what he was doing, and obviously had a leg up on him on that. But the problem was, as soon she called him out on his art, basically saying it was a very lonely painting. He actually got up and started to get angry, but then he noticed her start to shake, and that's when he completely changed his tune. He's and I thought that was a really subtle, very clever detail. Jin is such a fascinating...
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to force anyone to do anything.
Yeah.
I think he considers his power convincing instead of, like, mind control.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the highlight for me this episode was definitely the fight scene.
Oh, the Sakuga. Yeah.
Oh my god,
it was so good.
I went back and watched that scene a few times, actually.
Yeah, like, because it's just so fluid, and it definitely shows, like, how skilled at martial arts he really is. Because we kept hearing, oh yeah, he's done martial arts before, but we'd never, like, seen it in action.
Yeah, like, we saw a little bit when he, like, kicked Spooky E in the face.
Oh, no, he tried to kick him in the dick.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he kicked him, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah, but then, but here we actually got to see it on full display. Plus, we got a little bit of insight into why he's so good at martial arts. Probably Nagi taught him, I imagine, because we get a little bit of fight scene with her too.
Yeah, well, either she taught him or they went to, like, the same dojo or something like that.
Probably. And I will say that something that was a touch disappointing, like, after all that really cool Sakuga and all those really cool action shots, there were a bunch of still images of Nagi kicking the shit out of them. It's like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you already bothered to animate, like, so much of this fight scene anyway. Why not just do the rest of them? Did they not have the time for that week or something? I don't really know. That was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah,
me.
I mean, they probably did, like, as much as they could.
Yeah.
In the time they had, and they were like, yeah, it's just still images.
Yeah, it just felt a little bit lazy, and I'm not entirely sure why they did it. Yeah. Also, kind of going back to that, when I thought it was really cool how Nagi realized that Kinakawa was a fake, because Kinakawa's first question was, "Who the hell are you?" And her basically is like, "Oh, so you're a fake." It's like, because nobody at Shinue Academy, there's nobody at Shinue Academy doesn't know who I am, pretty much. Yeah. Because Nagi has that much of a reputation. I thought that was just really clever that she realized it just like in a quick snippet of dialogue.
Yeah, she's a pretty smart girl.
Yeah, she is. And pretty much a badass. I don't understand where she got the tactical vigilante outfit.
I don't know, she's like Femme Batman, pretty much.
Yeah, she has a stun baton that she uses. That's her weapon of choice, which I thought was pretty cool. And I think
she, like, unmind controlled those guys.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Because, like, they were just following, unless, the fake, Kinakawa, I think, unless she paid him or something.
I'm pretty sure she did.
But it felt like they were listening to her. And then, like, after they all got zapped and woke up, they're like, oh, that girl, and they started getting, like, pissed off at her.
I don't think they were getting pissed off at Kinakawa. I think they remembered getting the shit kicked out of them by Nagi.
Maybe, yeah.
But then Jean shows up and proves, like, the big flaw in Spooky E's powers, like, because he basically talks to Kinakawa and is able to reach her, like...
Yeah, because Spooky E has the ability to force stuff into people's head, but he can't really, like, actually change them.
Yeah.
Whereas Jin can fundamentally, like, mind control a person.
I think that is what makes Jin such an interesting. Like, I almost call him a villain. I will definitely call him an antagonist here, because what makes him so fundamentally freaky is the fact that he knows full well that the only way to really change someone is to know what they want and how to give it to them. Like, he even says something to the effect of, you can't change a person unless you know what is missing in their hearts and how you're going to fill that void.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool, like, how he reveals his plan is basically just to take over the Toho organization using Spooky E as a cover, because he even points out, it's like, this actually works out perfectly for me.
But, rip that plan.
Yeah.
Because once Spooky E finally got calmed down, I think he's just like... maybe he was trying to, like, unmind control himself.
Maybe.
Because I think he was probably under control from the Toho organization. And then he probably, like, tried to shock his own face to unmind control himself. But it didn't work, and he ended up killing himself.
I think that he legitimately wanted to kill himself. Like, I think he'd wanted to die for a long time, but because his hatred was so strong, he just wasn't able to. And because Jean had basically removed that problem from him, which we find out it's basically just removing their capacity for aggression, is the way that Jean actually describes it.
Yeah.
And then with that, he was able to just say, well, you know, I finally have the ability to do this. By the way, Boogiepop's after you.
Oh,
yeah. And I want to say, like, it's interesting how Jean's, like, whole, like, thing this episode was finding, like, a sacrifice for his plan, pretty much, because... And it kind of ties back into Nagi's father, Seiichi Karima, I believe his name was. Yeah. Because, like, the opening quote is, "No matter how much you dream, it's not the dreamer who will achieve it, but the next generation. And for them, it's not a dream, but established fact." I thought that was... And then it goes into talking about sacrificing something for... And he realizes that perfect seed that he brought up with Suema before was Orihata, it seems.
Yep.
Orihata is going to be that sacrifice.
And that's where the episode cuts off with Jin leering over Orihata.
Well, actually, but Misaki was calling on her phone, and he's basically like panicking, saying, "Hello, are you there?"
Yeah, I think Jin was trying to get Orihata to call for help, gauging her reaction, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he's going to actually be the one to lure Misaki there, because basically saying, "I've kidnapped this girl," like knowing that he's going to try and save her.
Yeah, I think Jin. I think Jin currently believes that Masaki's Boogiepop.
Yeah,
and because Spooky is like, "Hey, Boogiepop's after you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe he's gonna try and lure him.
And yeah, he doesn't know that this Boogiepop is a fake. Is the funny thing about that. And I think that's what's going to cause the rivalry between Nagi and Boogiepop, actually.
Oh, misunderstanding?
Yeah, I think so, because in the opening sequence, we see, like, Boogiepop, like, trying to fly away, like, on the bungee, or on the threads or whatever, and you see Kirima basically, like, skating up the building, chasing her.
Interesting note about that. I'm not sure if it's them fighting or them working together, because... I kind of think, to me, it kind of looks like there's a possibility that Boogiepop is, like, flying away, but also holding the line.
Yeah, maybe.
So Kirima can follow.
Maybe.
But yeah, you're probably right. They're probably going to end up fighting by the end.
Yeah.
They definitely seem like the two, like, strongest forces in the show.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I want to say that... it's interesting that Suema was talking with Toka again, but then Boogiepop just out of nowhere just decides to like pop up, and then immediately go back to Toka like that didn't just happen.
Yeah.
Again,
at this point, I feel like Toka is probably almost aware of it.
Maybe. Like, because she allows herself to be willingly taken over by that persona?
Or she's aware when it happens, at least, because she just continued the conversation.
Yeah.
Almost aware of what Boogiepop just said.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, whatever. Like, again... I'm fascinated to see where this goes, because we've been dealing with this particular arc for, like, what, 5, almost 6 episodes now?
5 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be really cool to see how this all wraps up. Like, is the Imaginator, like, who's all going to die? Like, I'm thinking Masaki is going to die next episode, Orihata might die next episode. I don't know. It's suspenseful, and I enjoy watching this show every week. Next up, we have Dororo.
Oof.
Shut up! Oh, God. Yeah, I can... Like, that song is never the same after this.
Yeah, it's such a sad ending to an episode.
Yeah, for one thing, let's just talk about the ending real quick, because that was easily, like, one of the most poignant moments of this week. Like, just,
like the ending? Like the final scene?
Yeah, the final scene.
Oh
like,
my god, yeah. The music they used there was perfect, because
it was just, and other than that, it was, like, silence, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like, just her singing the song, the wind blowing, and it was just, like, them walking through this golden rice paddy that she had talked about so much. Yeah. And
that's visual storytelling at its, like, finest point, in my opinion.
Exactly. It's just, like, that image is, like, burned into my head forever. Just, like, now I'm sad.
Yeah.
Like, that song, it just makes... Like, she says that she sings it every time that she felt sad, but then you pointed out, it's like, but you sing all the time.
I only smoke when I'm unhappy, but you smoke all the time.
Exactly. And it's interesting, because now every time I hear that song, or think about that song, I'm going to be sad. Because this was, like, the first, like, 2-part arc, really. This, like, every other episode has been sort of like a Monster of the Week type deal, which has been fine. It's been handy for telling the story, but this was, like, the first one with, like, major stakes and, like, actually getting attached to characters and watching them die horribly.
Yeah, the monster wasn't really the focus in this arc. It was there to take away
Hyakimaru's leg. Which he grew back right away.
Yeah, also, fuck you, I was right last week.
Yeah.
That they didn't kill the monster.
Okay, yeah. I thought he stabbed it in the neck, and I thought that's why he got his voice back, but I guess I was wrong.
No, he probably had it all along, he just didn't know how to use it.
Maybe. That is possible, but...
Because that was the first major pain that he felt in his entire life.
I guess that's true. Like, I guess I'd never really considered it. But,
So we got a little more information on, like, Dororo and how he feels. Because he tried talking to Take, I believe his name is, about Mio's work. And then, Take didn't really seem to understand anything. But Dororo didn't... Like, he had a moment where he kind of wanted to talk about it, but he didn't really want to bring that up to the other kids because he didn't know how they'd handle it, so he just kind of kept it to himself.
Yeah, and then he talked to Mio about it, which was actually a pretty nice scene. And we find out a little bit more about Dororo, like, in his past, like, how he's like, I travel with my mama all the time, and that was one job that she refused to do no matter how hungry we got. But that's exactly what killed her, is what she said. I mean, what he said. So it makes me wonder... Did she starve to death, or was she raped to death? I don't know.
She was raped to death, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because
it's probably his dad was killed by samurai, and then his mom was raped to death.
Killed.
But he got away.
Yeah, I imagine so. Like, they don't, I think, and that's always the thing I like about this. They don't explicitly tell you exactly what's happened so far, but they give you, just enough information to where you're able to piece it together. And... there was a lot of, really cool, little foreshadowing elements here. Early on you see, a camp of samurai saying, it's keep an eye out for spies, because the Sakai clan is probably going to be making their move. And so, and then later when you see Mio getting ready to go to work, you see, a soldier just hiding in the bushes, and then when she's going home, you see, an entire army following her, and I was like, I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but watching it through a second time, I was like, oh shit, that becomes important.
Yep.
And everybody at the temple dies.
Yeah, I didn't expect Mio to die. I expected all the kids to die, but I didn't expect Mio to die because she's so prominent in the opening.
Yeah, she's in the opening for quite a while.
But it makes sense because I think her existing and kind of interacting with Hyakimaru was pretty important to him. Yeah. So I don't know if she should have been in the opening that much for just being around in 2 episodes, but I mean, same thing with Price of Smiles. You have Yashua's in the opening a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So we even get to see really one of the best looking fight scene, another contender for good looking fight scene this week, when Hyakimaru just goes fucking berserk.
Yeah, starts cutting up dudes.
Yeah, just cutting up, the animation there was so fluid, just how he was cutting people, the running, everything just looked cool.
Yeah, I like the animation style of you slow down the fighting in between slashes, but when you actually do the slashes, it speeds up really fast. Yeah. So you can kind of see someone get from point A to point B, and then it's just blood just goes everywhere. It looks really cool when it's done well. Yeah. And when it's not done well, it just looks kind of it
looks sloppy.
Yeah, freeze frame.
Yeah, here it was really well done though.
Yeah, you have to do the right in between frames to make it look really well. Done really well. We got a little more information on Tohomaru. Hyakimaru's little brother. Yep. Which I feeling is probably going to become a more prominent character in the next few episodes.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if those two are going to fight later, or if they're going to have to... I imagine they're going to fight later, because it seems like Tohomaru's motivation is he wants to be noticed by his mother. Yeah. Every time, and I thought that was pretty cool, how in that flashback, I know you hate flashbacks, but here I think it was pretty, handled pretty well when he was just climbing up a tree, and he looked through, and he saw, his mom just praying to the Hapless Buddha statue, which represents Hyakimaru, what happened that day. Yeah. And so, it was, I don't think it was, ridiculously ham-fisted, saying, this is a person's story, feels sad, but... I'm fascinated by Tohomaru. It's going to be interesting.
The conflict between him and Hyakimaru is going to be, at least what I think, it's going to be that Hyakimaru is pretty much the obstacle to Tahomaru getting his family's affection. Because he's like the one thing that his mother's still, stuck on. He's essentially taking their home away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which he doesn't know that yet, obviously, but I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Yeah, like, it seems like for every bit that Hyakimaru takes back, he takes away something else.
Yeah, because he's taking away, like, the blessings from the demon or whatever.
Which, by the way, I thought that was really cool. Like, the whole episode they were focusing on rain. It's like, oh, we're blessed with good rains every year and stuff like that. And then it finally starts to rain. But then he kills the demon, and it stops raining, like, immediately.
Does it? I don't remember that part.
Yeah, like, you see, like, everybody's, like, all... Like, rain starts to finally show up, and everybody's, like, getting ready to gather all the rainwater, and then, like, Hyakimaru finally kills the demon in a pretty clever way by hiding a blade in his missing leg, like the wooden peg. I thought that was just super
his
cool.
pig leg.
Yeah, and then, the rain, like, stopped, like, immediately. It's just like, I can't believe we got so worked up just for that. I thought that was a pretty cool little detail. And then, of course, like we already talked about, that ending.
Yeah.
That ending.
So next up is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind.
White Album is overpowered as shit. Like, I guess the only thing that you can really say about this episode is that every time they think that they figured out the answer, it's just like, just kidding, I have another puzzle for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that kid, like, whenever you played pretend on the playground, it's like, I'm gonna cut you with my sword. Aha, but I'm immune to sword slashes.
I have the +1 sword armor.
It's like you can't hurt me. It's like that kid who's just constantly changing the freaking rules, giving himself more power.
Fuck you, Todd.
Yeah, fuck you, Todd. Who's Todd?
I don't know, probably the name of some asshole in elementary school. Anyway. So, the new ability that Gyachio uses, is called Gently Weeps, which is a reference to
It's a Beatles song. As My Guitar Gently Weeps. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's George Harrison. And hell, I'm actually pretty sure it's on the White Album. So, I mean, which is, again, fitting, because White Album, or White Ice if you're just reading the subtitles, that's exactly what it's referencing. Again, because fuck copyright.
Yeah. So there's a very ridiculous scene in the episode where Mista is like, just make more grass.
Yeah, make more tundra
grass. I need more grass. And he fucking makes a snowboard out of it.
It's
a perfectly shaped snowboard.
Like, okay, how the fuck did you do that? I'm like...
it was awesome, though.
Yeah.
Like in the moment, I was just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, he's riding a snowboard.
I was like, what? I mean, even then I'm like, okay, that was so stupid, but it was awesome, so I'm willing to give it a pass. Which, by the way, I want to talk about, like, immediately Giorno's plan backfired, because he's gonna drive into the canal. This is something we called last week. It's like, that's gonna be a terrible idea.
Yeah, he drives into the canal and he's just like, this is a good idea. And then immediately after that, he's like, this was maybe not a good idea.
He's like, this was a mistake! Like, seriously, it's like, oh, it'll take a while for him to freeze all this water. Oh shit, he's freezing the water. Just like we would have thought, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that he should have just, like, flipped the car on the freeway.
Yeah.
And then that maybe would have gave them some breathing room.
But yeah, they managed to do something pretty cool, like when Giorno is able to, like, release his stand ability, and then Mista, like, is able to, like, basically shoot a screw into Gyakio's forehead, but it doesn't go quite deep enough, which, again, I think these two actually make a really good team, like, because Giorno being able to use, like, kind of quick thinking and stuff like that, and Mista's really good reflexes and pinpoint accuracy.
Mista actually said a really interesting line this episode where he said that it feels like Giorno is his capo
more so than Bucciarati. Yeah.
And that's really big.
Yeah, exactly.
To say that.
Even though Giorno is still a newbie, everything still works out the way he says it's going to. Is ultimately what Mista realizes, which I thought was super cool. And I want to say, like, this fight, though, is still pretty ridiculous. It's JoJo, so of course the fight's going to be ridiculous. Because the first part of the fight was, we gotta search for a breathing hole. And like, he tries to get Gyakyo out of the water, and then manages to, like, get, like, when he dives under, somehow is able to get up above the water. It's like, okay, we didn't see him do that. Why did he suddenly go above the water? Did he shoot himself in the ass to make him, like, jump out of the water really quickly?
Oh, you're talking about Mista?
Yeah, Mista.
He probably just swam up off stream.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but my way is funnier. but it was actually pretty clever when he got Gyakyo to look down, because he shot fish for no discernible reason, but the reason was to get him to look down.
Yeah, that was pretty clever.
Yeah, but still, that didn't work.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of worked. The plan worked. They just didn't expect him to have another ability.
Yeah, they just. That was the whole thing. Once again, Gyakyo just keeps adding shit to his, like, stand.
Yeah, his so the end part was it's hard to watch when he's slowly getting that spike pushed into his neck.
Just imagine that feeling. Oh, God. It's like getting a spinal tap, except a rusty hook, I imagine.
Mista showing, like, so much resolve, as Giorno put it.
Yeah.
Just shooting himself over and over and over and over again, pretty much.
Yeah, and then Giorno showing resolve first, actually, by, smacking his arm against ice.
That was gross.
And just...
and then the blood... That's not how blood works.
Yeah,
it's like smacked his arm on the ice, and it's just like blood shooting out everywhere.
The only way that's happening is if he broke if an artery got cut, because
even then, it doesn't shoot out at fucking fountain speeds.
Yeah,
it'll just spurt out slowly.
No, that's veins.
Well, no, if you cut open an artery, it's not gonna fucking squirt out like you're squeezing down a garden hose. Mm-hmm. It's still gonna spurt out. It's like it'll come out faster.
Yeah.
But it won't just go like, the sprinkler's on, go out, kids, it's fun summer day.
Yeah, and I love how Mista's whole plan was just to get shot enough so blood would shoot on Gyakyo's face. And then,
fucking, like, Kung Pao, like,
I'm bleeding!
Fist to my face style.
How do you like it? I'm bleeding, making me the victor.
Yeah. That's immediately what I thought about.
Yeah, exactly, that's pretty apt. I think it was also hilarious when, Giorno is getting ready to basically heal up Mista. Unlike Josuke, who has the ability to undo all damage and make them not feel any pain, Giorno is able to heal people, but that's only in a sense because he's just replacing parts that were damaged, so they still feel a shitload of pain.
Yeah, so I guess he can just do it permanently. That's what it seems like his stand ability is. He can turn things into life permanently,
which is fascinating. Like, it's bizarre as all shit, but it's still fascinating. And it's just like, don't worry, we have like 18 more bullet holes, so try to stay still. And then, of course, it has to end with homoerotica because Jojo. It's like Abdul and Joseph all over again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next up
is
Kaguya-sama. We finally meet Ichigami. I fucking knew it. I knew it was going to happen. We finally meet Ichigami.
Yeah, I kind of thought he was just going to be a joke and never was going to show up, actually.
But yeah, here he actually shows up, and I'm glad he did, because, like, some of the skits he's been in so far have been completely hilarious. For one thing, I love how he is, like, he wants to quit the student council, because, like, that's his thing. It's like, oh, he's completely indispensable to the student council, but he wants to quit. And the reason is he thinks he's going to get killed by Kaguya. The problem is he also can't leave because he thinks Kaguya's going to kill him if he does.
Yeah, I totally understand his viewpoint, because the looks that she gives him are very, very murderous looking.
If you ever tell someone about her secret, the next time this won't be a toy. Yeah, I love how just by looking at her, he says, like, I have a 5 or 6%, I can tell, like, at least 5 or 6% of a person's character by looking at them, and he was able to basically give, it's like, I'm pretty sure she's killed at least 2 or 3 people already.
So my headcanon is that he has just been under the desk these entire episodes.
Probably. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, because, like, we've actually saw in the later skit Chica pulling him out from under the desk, so...
He's just been sitting there the whole time, and just not important enough to be part of the conversations.
Like, or I think he's actively choosing not to be part of the conversations, because he's definitely pretty introverted character, it seems like, not really wanting to get involved with things unless he absolutely needs to.
Either that, or he's just been, like they said, he usually takes his work home, so he just usually doesn't show up. Unless
it's for, like, student council meetings. And the next skit was hilarious because it was Chika basically trying to do, like these love detective mind games, pretty much, trying to basically, like, answer this question in a specific way, and it's always related to some romantic bullshit. Which, of course, Kaguya prepares for, like, in advance. Like,
but Chika showing that she probably knew that Kaguya was doing this. Because she's like, oh, I'm going to go look on the internet for another one because I want to play. that was, like, at this point, I'm almost positive that she's doing stuff like that on purpose.
Yeah, like, because she even knew that, like, cause the grin that she was giving, Miyuki was, like, pretty much a giveaway for, like, what made him realize, wait, this isn't some innocent game that she's playing here.
That was probably also on purpose.
Yeah.
To make him think that way. Who knows, maybe we're all just giving Chika too much credit and she's just like an idiot savant.
I don't know, I think, again, like I've said, I think she's pretty damn perceptive when she wants to be. But I think at the same time, we could be just giving her too much credit. Again, she is a fucking wild card.
Which that's brilliant that's brilliant writing. Like, making people think that she could be this smart, even if she's not. And either way, it still feels like good writing. Like, even if she ended up being an idiot savant in the end, I'd still think it was funny. Just because I was thinking that way. Yeah,
I remember I remember one of the other funny bits, it's like, when she asked Ishigami, it's like, somebody taps you on the shoulder in a dark corridor, who do you see? Or, like, who is that person? And his mind immediately goes to, like, the opening cutscene from Resident Evil, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's Kaguya trying to kill him. And then his excuse, it seems like this is going to be a running joke, too. He always finds an excuse to leave home early. It's like, I'm going to go home. I think I have Stockholm Syndrome. Like, that's awfully specific. I thought that, I have really enjoyed Ishigami as a character so far, though. Like, because even later, like, he was trying to give Chika a compliment about, like, oh, your hair smells nice because you have new conditioner. Just, again, the way he delivered it was completely creepy.
Yeah, your hair smells like a newborn baby.
Oh, God.
I mean, like, he didn't say it like in that tone.
But,
But I'm pretty sure that he has a crush on Chika.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got a crush on Chika, and I'm pretty sure, like, and I think it's hilarious that Kaguya is convinced that he's got a crush on her.
Yeah.
Even though she says, like, he's little more than a worm compared to me.
Yeah, sorry, I only see you as a worm.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess he's a nice boy, and he's not necessarily bad looking, but I only see him as a worm.
Kaguya has eyes for only one man.
Yeah, and that man is Miyuki Shirogane, which she's gone really out of her way to try to get him to notice her, when her maid once again tries to convince her to, like, go along with her little schemes, like, and doll up her nails.
Yeah, I love that her maid's motivation behind everything was just to give her some glam, as they put it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
not that to get boys to notice her, she just wanted to do Kaguya's nails.
Exactly. I think that's hilarious. The maid is easily, like, the cast in this show is just an absolute treat to watch. The maid is no exception. Because, like, she's, like, all prim and proper at home, but then when she's at school, her entire thing is, like, oh, she's this popular fashion girl, pretty much, and she's just pushing the boundaries of the school's, like, dress code and stuff, and that's all intentional, and I think that's really hilarious. And it ended on that whole bit ended on a sweet note when you actually see, like, Miyuki, like, start to realize it's, like, that Kaguya was just legitimately upset that he didn't like say anything about her nails, and at the end he just wanted to say that they looked nice. I think.
This show sprinkles in little bits of, like, good feelings.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that was just legitimately just a sweet moment because it's like I mean, I noticed them, but that just made it sad that I didn't actually say anything, and that was nice.
Yeah,
like, he was able to put away his pride a little bit for that, even if he couldn't finish saying it.
It's like back when he was doing like the charity work, and Kaguya noticed that, and she got all happy inside just because she likes him.
Exactly. This series is absolutely wonderful. So next up,
Next up is the Magnificent Kotobuki. Got introduced to the best comedy flying duo.
I know, right? That's how these two played off. You definitely had like the fool and the straight man, like to a T, pretty much.
Isao and his butler were pretty hilarious.
Yeah, just like they were absolute comic gold to watch. And then the banter between the girls was really pleasant to watch as usual. I love how much Chika and Kilie act like children.
Yeah, they're pretty much like siblings.
Yeah, because Chika was like all like bad mouthing this new doll that, Kilie was bad mouthing this doll that Chika got, and then she's like do bang, and hits her in the back of the head with it, and then they almost run into the street, or they do run into the street and almost get run over like morons. And they even Isao and his butler bring it up later. It's like, what did I used to do? It's like, you used to drive and you almost ran over two stupid girls.
We got to see a little bit more
Riona
from Riona in this episode, because like usually she's like, oh, we gotta stay calm, stay in perfect formation, and she just fucking goes buck wild and starts shooting down planes. And,
it actually causes Kate to get shot down almost. Like, her plane does get shot, but she just has to retreat.
Yeah.
Which, we find out that she was known as the Tenacious Riona, pretty much. And it was because of her recklessness in the past that actually caused her to... I'm pretty sure that's what made her so diligent from this point forward. It's fascinating.
Yeah, because she's saying how she got rescued by
Isao.
The magician in the sky.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember his exact name, but the Soaring Magician. That's what it is. The Soaring Magician. I also want to say that Councilwoman Julia continues to prove what an arrogant bitch she is.
Oh, like we're talking about where the plane's gonna crash into the building?
Okay, that part was just hilarious. She's just sitting there drinking her tea, just like, nothing bothers me. But no, just like the way that she kind of badmouths Isao and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, she's just a complete bitch.
I mean, I'm sure she's gotten to her position for a good reason.
Yeah, I agree.
Being a shrewd businesswoman.
Yeah, no, I agree. But at the same time, I still don't like her as a person. Yeah. I think she's a terrible person.
I don't know about terrible person so much as just asshole.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could be an asshole and still be a good person.
I guess, yeah. I guess that's true, but I want, like you've said, like, already in, like, the past, how, like, some of the expressions in this show, like, are, like, on 3D models is some of the best you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with that, like, and, like, the movements and stuff are, like, because they were actually really going all out, like, getting these characters to, like, their body movements to be expressive and stuff too, and it didn't look like jarring or awkward or anything. It was pretty damn fluid, actually. Like, I thought this was a good episode to show, like, oh, by the way, we don't just have good facial animation, we can actually do the rest of body animation pretty well too.
The final dogfight was pretty kick-ass when Isao finally gets in the plane. And
yeah.
This has this smug look on his face as he's doing these, like, kick-ass maneuvers. I don't know what it's called, but the maneuver where he just, like, flew up, turned off his engines, and, like, dropped down below the bomber.
Yeah!
That was really cool looking.
Yeah. I also want to point out that it's something more about Riona. Like, it seems like she is deathly terrified of birds for some odd reason.
I mean, I'd be terrified if a fucking dodo flew out of the sky and landed next to me.
Well, I mean, but even after she realized what it was Captain Dodo, you see her just kind of hiding behind Zara, just like grabbing onto her sleeve, like just kind of shaking there. So I think she's just afraid of birds, which is hilarious because she flies a big-ass plane.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, like, why is she afraid of birds? What did a bird do to her?
Maybe she has a traumatic experience with birds.
Maybe, yeah, did birds just come in and peck her parents to death or something?
Or stole her sandwich when she was a child.
My sandwich. Not a whole lot really happened this episode. It mainly just felt like a way to introduce Isao, kind of introduce a little bit more about Riona. That's what it seems like this series mainly is, just introducing more and more about each of the Kotobuki Flight Corps. There isn't really so much of a connecting narrative yet, as far as I can tell.
It's like the pirates, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but for the most part, it's just the girls just kind of... It's just kind of introducing us to the squad mates of the Kotobuki.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like Slice of Life.
Yeah, exactly.
With dogfighting. Mm-hmm. It's like the slice of life elements serve to connect you to the next dogfighting scene.
Yeah.
Which, it works well.
It's like a club anime, except that club happens to just be, like, a bunch of plain fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like
the dogfighting club.
It's sort of like Girls in Panzer, except not shitty. I don't know.
Shitty? I've never seen it.
I've never seen Girls in Panzer either. I just know that the whole concept behind it is weird as shit. It's a high school or girls driving tanks.
Yeah, I've heard that bit about it, and that's it.
But yeah, I have never seen Girls in Panzer. But anybody who's watched Girls in Panzer, tell us how it is in the comments. So next up, Mob Psycho 102.
This episode, I don't know how to feel about it, because Reagan seemed to be an asshole, like, out of nowhere. Because this whole series, Reagan's always been, like, supportive of Mob. Maybe it's because he's getting jealous that Mob is having other friends now. But he, like, straight up says, like, no, those aren't your real friends. You don't have any real friends except for me.
I think it does have more to do. I think it does have more to do with his jealousy and loneliness, because that's where we start to get more into Reagan's personal life in this episode, and we start to realize, like, just how lonely and miserable it really is. Like, he doesn't really have any friends. Like, he even forgot it was his own birthday, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Like, and the only person he got a message from was his mom. Which, how nice of him, but his mom at the same time was basically, like, the whole point of that message was just to say how much of a letdown of a son he is, pretty much, it seems, because it's like, our neighbors, the Kobayashis, are having a freaking child soon, and here's a legit business that you can actually work for now. And that's pretty depressing, actually. Like, that whole sequence where he's just in his apartment, just kind of looking on the computer, how it's just dead silent, except for, like, occasional computer noises and just clicking. That was actually really sad.
Yeah, I guess it probably was a kind of lashing out a little bit in jealousy that Mob should have all of his time for me because, you know, I'm the one who takes care of him, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and it was, on that note, it was really cool seeing Mob actually stand up for himself, like, twice this episode. One was over the phone, and, which, fine, I mean, he didn't really do any, it didn't really amount to much in the end. He still ended up going to help out Reagan. But then the second time when Reagan made his stupid freaking outbursts, Mob actually, like, legitimately just tells him to pretty much fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, and just like that kind of sequence where you see, like, him, like, slowly looking up, I was like, okay, that's actually kind of creepy. Like,
yeah, I can see that Mob doesn't really need Reagan to function. I think he probably needed him earlier on, just to kind of help him get off his get on his feet.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting to note that Mob didn't, like, completely cut ties with Reagan. Like, I think, like, even he acknowledges that.
Well, he said, like, I'm taking a break.
Yeah, exactly. He acknowledges that I'm just not going over to his place for a while. Like, he realized that he can't just blindly listen to everything that Reagan tells him anymore, and that he needs to just start to figure stuff out on his own. It's actually kind of refreshing to see that he didn't just cut it out, like, basically, like, stop seeing him because of, like, any, like, legitimate anger or malice or anything like that. It was just legitimate self-reflection. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty cool to see.
Good character growth.
Yeah, Mob is a good boy. Like, and him hanging out with Ritsu and stuff like that. It's like, so, you just want to play some video games? Like, I'd love that. It's, again, these two are just good brothers. Good, wholesome siblings. Kind of makes you forget about the whole, like, I'm jealous of my brother and also want psychic power stuff from last season, but...
Yeah, they got over that.
Yeah, they got over it.
So Reagan is now, like, a super popular psychic.
Yeah, which I'm not entirely sure, like, how that's gonna pan out, because, like, he decided after the bar that he wanted to basically make a change in his life, because he realized that the patrons there, like, he was kind of desperate, just reaching at that point. Like, these people are just willing to, like, to look for me to advice and stuff like that, but, like, these are probably the closest thing to friends.
Yeah, he's never going to have an actual conversation with them. They just want to ask him for advice.
Yeah, they just want to ask him for advice, and at the end of the day, like, they don't care about his problems. It's kind of one-sided. Like, cause, like, after he says it's my birthday, like, they don't even really pay much attention to it. Like, some lady just starts talking about this damn pillow that she got.
They say, like, congratulations, and then move
It's like,
on.
oh, by the way, this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that convinces him to, like, start taking on, like, all these really, like, cool jobs. And I think one of the best bits was when he freaking, like, killed an online internet ghost, pretty much. He made multiple...
fucking levels up multiple accounts.
And then he proceeded to surround that character with his characters and then beat the crap out of it. And he looked like a freaking zombie after that, because he spent, like, days. Like,
so now he's on TV.
Yeah, he's on TV, which they're on some, like, supernatural show, which most of them make sense. Like, you've got Reagan, who is a psychic, in a loose term. You have the creepy old dude from last episode or 2 episodes ago. You have, like, some, like, paranormal scientist sort of guy. But then there's one guest that didn't make sense. Just some random idol chick on a supernatural show. It's like, what is that?
Wasn't she one of the hosts?
I'm
pretty sure she was one of the hosts.
She might have been, but still, it's bizarre. No, I think she was a guest, because, like, the guy who was she might have been, because there was an announcer, and then maybe those two, but still, it's really weird for an idol to be hosting, like, a supernatural show, don't you think?
You gotta drum up an audience.
I guess, like,
so the scientist guy is upset at Reagan for kneeing him in the stomach?
No, that's not the psychic.
I mean, the psychic guy.
Yeah.
Even though that kneeing him in the stomach saved him from being possessed.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's kind of being stupid there.
Yeah, it's just...
So he's going to try and ruin Reagan, which exactly. I feel like he's probably going to end up doing. Reagan's going to get knocked down a peg. Mob's going to have to go save him, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Like, this... I'm interested to see where Reagan goes forward. Like, I don't think that he... Like, again, it kind of reminds you that Reagan isn't a perfect person either. Like, he has his good points, but he's certainly a flawed character.
Yeah.
Like, and this has been a good episode to kind of remind us of that. So
next up is My Roommate is a Cat.
Alright, so the first thing, it was a super adorable moment of just Subaru just getting, like, excited that somebody else checked out a book that he liked. I thought that was just a kind of cute little bit with him. Like, just, like, realizing that it was his way of kind of, like, connecting with people at that time, when he's clearly not good at that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was, like, his only way as a kid to interact with people.
Yeah, just seeing other people sharing the same interests. And I thought that was just a really cute moment. Which, something else, we finally found... So remember last week when we joked, it's like, oh man, what if Roku has turned out to be voiced by Mr. Giraffe? Because he sounds like such a cool cat. It turned out to just be Mr. Giraffe's voice actor.
Yeah, I can't remember his voice off the top of my head, but... Yeah. I love him and everything he does. Yeah,
like, he's got such a cool, sort of just, like, smooth voice to listen to. Like, it's absolutely a delight to listen to. And Roku really is just a cool cat. Just he's been around the block a few times. He knows what these kids are going through.
I love how he tries to play off like, this new guy is here. I'll go up and make sure it's safe. I'll protect you guys. And he just wanted the first pets.
Yeah, he just wanted the first pets. It's like, see, are you satisfied now that he's not hostile?
Yeah. We got a little more info on Subaru being a writer, because Yugo, Nana's younger brother,
which it was revealed pretty early on to be his younger brother.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Like, he's not gonna be a boyfriend or anything. Nana is the romantic interest.
Yeah, exactly.
He brings up Subaru's novel, which slowly gets Subaru more and more anxious, more and more uncomfortable about, like, because he's already, like, anxious about people reading his stuff.
Yeah, or he's never really... I guess it's something, like, he said towards the end of, like, his bit, because most of this episode actually focused on Haru, which was an interesting change of pace, but, like, the first, I want to say third of this episode focused on Subaru and his kind of, like, realizing, it's like, I never really bothered to understand, like, how my works affected other people. Like, and he kind of decides from that point forward he wants to try and figure that out, which I think is pretty cool.
Because in the end, he said, it made him happy.
Yeah, exactly.
That he knew that people were actually reading his work.
Yeah, and I thought that was it was still kind of awkward. Like, he obviously, like, I don't think he was entirely ready still to realize that. Like, I guess, once again, it's sort of a bit of a shock when you're that, like, shut away from people to realize, like, oh crap, my actions actually have an impact on people. Kind of realizing that makes you go, oh, okay, it's time to leave. I need some time to actually process all this. Which, that kind of comes a little bit to a head at the end of the episode when his editor shows up and gives him, like, a huge bag of fan mail. And one of the letters happens to be from Yugo.
Mm-hmm. So quick note about this episode. Most of it was a flashback, and I don't have as much of a problem with flashbacks as long as they don't interrupt something.
Yeah.
Which is...
As long as they're weaved, like, well into the narrative.
Yeah, in this case, it wasn't as big of a deal to me, because it was pretty much just, like, that part of the episode was the flashback. It didn't really interrupt anything.
Yeah, and it just... For one, we find out a lot about Haru, how she actually had 4 other siblings, and two of them just got adopted pretty early on because they just wandered up to a group of people having a picnic, and then we find out that one of the siblings wasn't so lucky.
Oh my god, I did not expect to see dead kitten.
Yeah, I did not expect... I saw that and I was just thinking of that one scene from The Lion King that everybody loves so much. Dad! It's time to get up! We have to go home. Just, oh god, just the why won't you open your eyes and stuff like that. Which, we actually also got introduced to Haru's really cool mentors, Kudo and Tora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The super anime-looking cats.
Exactly.
I expected the cat without the eye to have an eye patch.
Yeah, and even have some freaking, 5 o'clock shadow, sort of like freaking Snake or Big Boss or something. Just like, Metal Gear. Metal Crow. Because... It turns out the biggest enemy to cats in this world are crows.
Yeah, apparently crows are assholes. They
just
kill cats.
Yeah, for reasons. But yeah, like you said, I was not expecting to see dead kittens. Mm-hmm. That was actually pretty sad.
So it's all but one sibling is accounted for at this point, right?
Yes.
Or wait, she had 4 siblings?
Yeah, there was herself, the 2 siblings that got adopted by, just the random strangers having a picnic. Hachi, which has been was adopted by Nana.
Wait. So they're all accounted for then?
Yeah,
because 3 got adopted and 1 died.
Yep. So yeah, so take that home with you guys.
I mean, that's good odds.
Yeah,
that's 75% right there. Yeah, that's a passing grade.
Yep, that's an above passing grade. But yeah, this episode, we're slowly starting to find out more about Haru, and basically it's just Haru's kind of what does it mean to be family sort of deal, and I think she's slowly starting to figure that part out with Subaru, and he's slowly starting to and Subaru's starting to understand people just by interacting with his cat. Ironically enough, just because he has a cat, other people like that he has a cat, and therefore he has to interact with people more. Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't forget that he was a writer, because that was one of my complaints last week.
Yeah, exactly. You said it was something that felt like it just kind of went by the wayside, which, yeah, it kind of did for a little while, but I think they just wanted to focus on, developing the chemistry between him and Haru first before revisiting that. It was a little bit clumsily handled, but definitely not a show ender for me.
Yeah, for sure. The show is definitely growing on me more and more. Especially the opening. I love the opening for the show.
Yeah, it's so catchy and so upbeat and just so fun. Alright, so next up is Price of Smiles. I want to just say, it is sad to see, the Margrave, the guy who had the kid and wife that he had to send away, while he basically stayed behind to, fight off the Empire or whatever. It's sad to just see him so broken, pretty much, because he's serving, as an Imperial lapdog at this point.
I don't think he's broken so much as he is biding time.
Yeah. I guess that's a better... It's still sad to see him in a position like that, I guess.
Yeah, he's pretty much a puppet of Grandiga at this point.
Yeah, and yeah, although it is actually still pretty inspiring that he still has the ability to, talk back and stuff like that. You don't want to see any more pointless bloodshed. I think you mean you don't want to see, your forces divided up any further.
He knows that he's definitely in a position where he's too valuable to be done away with. Because the reason they're able to hold onto the capital city so well is because he's still in that position of quote-unquote power.
Yeah, exactly.
So the people of Soleil still have that figurehead exactly. at the top of the city.
And then, like, they even say, like, Aina is talking with him about, like, I hear there's a resistance somewhere in the south, like, and it's supposedly being headed up by Princess Yuki. Like, which makes me wonder, is that true? Did she become like a master tactician while we didn't realize it?
Suddenly Fire Emblem.
Yeah, suddenly Fire Emblem. And on top of that, it does make me wonder, how much time has passed since, like, the last episode? I'd say about a month or two, probably.
It's hard to say.
It is.
It could have been a day. It could have been a month.
I don't imagine, I'm pretty sure.
It's probably more than a day, because if they're talking about stuff that's happened in the South, then
yeah,
it's probably been at least a few days.
I'd say at most probably a month, because the biggest part of this episode was like, one of our squad mates, Pierce, is getting ready to leave the army because he's being discharged for injury. I imagine he probably spent a month in recovery, and he's still paralyzed, but he's been officially discharged, which is
either paralyzed or very wounded.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair, and most of this...
was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we finally meet the Emperor, because I thought that Aina Fleet was like the head of the Empire. No,
I think she's just a general.
She's the chief of staff, which makes me wonder if she's going to do a power play later, because we finally meet the Emperor and what his goal is, and we're kind of wondering, like, his quote was, "When your crest represents no tradition, no bloodline, the only way it can command loyalty is with power." Makes me wonder, like, I'm just curious about the Emperor now, because we finally get introduced to him.
It seems like he was like a not a noble. Mm-hmm. He was just like a common man that rose to his station.
Yeah.
Via power.
Yeah, exactly.
So now he's afraid that if he doesn't, he's because Aina, was that her name?
Yeah.
She's afraid that sending in a bunch of troops with the shitty sewer gears is just going to end up having them.
No, die. There's the mass-produced Krars, which are supposed to be they're supposed to be like a high power, but they're also supposed to be incredibly unstable.
Yeah, so she's worried about troops dying, but the Emperor's thinking that, well, if I don't keep sending people in, then people are going to question me.
Yeah, exactly. He's basically like, I don't want to believe the Emperor is a terrible person, but at the same time, he's definitely like someone has probably had to be pretty cold-hearted at this point. And the meat of this episode was mainly just like introducing us to, or basically everybody's getting ready to say goodbye to Pierce. Had a pretty funny moment when it's like, these are a delicacy back in my hometown. The Bugsy beans.
Yeah, there was a bit of slice of life comedy in this episode. I don't think they do it as well as let's say like Golden Kamuy.
Yeah.
There's a good way to switch between comedy and tragedy, mm-hmm. or action, and it just doesn't feel as organic to me in this series.
Yeah, like, because, and I can kind of see that, because, like, while everybody's sort of, like, laughing and having a good time, which I thought the banter between the squad mates was pretty good, but then he decides to, out of nowhere, just drop this bomb about how he was a freaking burden to his family. Just like, okay, it's like, way to kill the mood. You could have reserved this when we were just talking by yourself or something. And it's like, oh, by the way, you want to work at the orphanage that I run, which, again, that was something that we kind of called earlier.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure on the orphanage. I figured he had kids somehow.
Mm-hmm. Like, I figured it had to be something like that, mm-hmm. like war orphans, because why else would he be looking out so much for the war orphans a few episodes ago?
Yeah, I like Gale. He's probably one of my favorite characters in the show.
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing an officer
Commander, yeah.
that runs an orphanage.
Also, I like how he called out Stella on her bullshit.
Yeah, he indirectly kind of tells her, stop smiling all fake.
Yeah, and that it basically got her to like completely kind of question like what she's been doing, which I think was really cool of him to do. Like, it's sort of like a step in the right direction for her, because we find out a little bit more about Stella, by the way. I think I'm kind of torn on that whole segment, because on one hand, I felt like they showed us just enough to understand why she was the way she was. On the other hand, I still feel it was like a little bit clumsily handled.
It was forced narrative, definitely. Like,
yeah.
It was an info dump of, like, oh, here's why she's sad.
Like, again, I understand it, like, and I think that's totally fair, but at the same time, it feels a little bit hard to, like, sympathize when you see, like, her adoptive parents go from, like, happy and caring, like, 1 minute, and then, like, immediately, like, not, like, 10 seconds later, seeing them be all cold and cruel towards her.
That's not how I saw it. I definitely... I agree with the reasoning why she's upset. Because, like, the parents were all happy with, their actual child.
Once they started realizing they didn't have enough money, like, to feed both of them.
It was like a little bit of a flash forward in the flashback.
Yeah.
Like I said, I agree with the reasoning of her being sad. I just don't like how it was delivered via the narrative.
Yeah, it felt a little... Like, it would have been... I think they should have spent a little bit of time on that and a little bit less time exploring the palace. I felt like that was just kind of padding.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, I mean... And I think, like, the overall ideas behind it, like, trying to figure out about the sunflowers in the palace and stuff like that, that was all cool. I like that. Like, I like how the sunflowers serve as a metaphor and stuff like that in this. Because, you know what sunflowers mean in the language of flowers, right?
No.
It's friendship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so between, like, Yuki and Stella?
Yeah, eventually. So, so there is an interesting connection, although I think they could have handled it a little bit differently. Like, maybe Lily and Stella didn't go with Pierce to the king, like, to the royal throne room and stuff, like, in this episode, but after he dies, spoiler warning, he dies, like, they kind of regret not fulfilling his last request or something like that, so they go there themselves. Like, it could have given us a little bit of time and a little bit of spacing between, like, her considering what the commander told her, like, about how plants that don't root, it's not the plants that won't root, it's the people around them that help them root. Like, giving it a little bit of time and her finally kind of reflecting and saying that to Lily, rather than, here's the commander giving some helpful advice and insight, and here's Stella repeating that in the same episode. It felt like they just kind of crammed a few plot points in this episode.
Yeah, I didn't really feel Pierce's death at all.
Yeah.
It just, like, it didn't really mean anything to me. Part of it was just, like, I saw the transport going away and him talking about how he can't wait to get home, and I'm like, he's gonna die. He's gonna get shot.
I mean, it would have been one thing, like, and also just the fact that they showed, like, the transport getting shot. It would have been another thing if, like, he'd been sort of killed off screen, I think, even. Like, because again, in war situations like this, bad things happen all the time, more often than not, without you being there.
Yeah, I think I honestly would have felt his death more if they didn't show it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh, by the way, yeah, his convoy got shot. Mm-hmm. Which, I want to point out something about that really quick. It makes me wonder if Soleil knew, like, I doubt that the Soleil Kingdom knew about it being, like, a wounded people's transport. Like, because I doubt they would have fired if they knew that.
Or they might have. Like, it could have just been some asshole in command of that.
Yeah, like, it very well could have been, but of course, that's going to be, like, major, like, fuel for the fire against, oh, we absolutely have to crush them now, because they shot a bunch of wounded people who are no longer even soldiers. So
this episode was a bit of a stumble, I think. I'm a little worried that they're not... So the opening definitely, like, focuses on Yuki and Stella getting together.
Yeah.
And there's only 5 more episodes left, so I'm worried that they're going to be able to wrap up the story in these 5 episodes.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, overall, like, I've enjoyed this series, and it's definitely by no means perfect, and this episode was, I agree, certainly more of a stumble than the past, but overall, like, I like a lot of the character interactions. I like the fact that Huey was the one to actually, like when Stella finally stopped smiling and was getting ready to punch him, he basically mocks her, like, and saying, this is what you do all the time, so do you really have any right to criticize me for it? Mm-hmm. Like, again, I think that was kind of cool. I'm interested to see where all these characters go from this point on. Like, I'm wanting to see this series do well. I'm kind of a little worried, though.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, this was a little bit of a stumble. I hope it's not too much to shoot the story completely like Darling in the Franxx.
So next up is the Promised Neverland. It turns out it was just Phil the entire time. You were expecting Mama, but it was Phil.
Like, I called it. I knew it was going to be a fake out. I fucking knew it was going to be a fake out because this series does a really good job of making you feel on edge and tense the whole time. But then I think it also is able to kind of parse it out just enough to where it's just close calls. But then Dawn and Gilda find out the truth in one of the most tense scenes I think this series has gone in so far. This is like first episode, like levels of tense where they're just hiding under the car. Like, just when they're hiding in the basement, just trying not to make any noise or anything like that. That was just, oh god, you're just hoping they do not get caught.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you do not want... And then when they accidentally make a noise in that secret room.
But, Emma saves the day. It was Emma, right?
No, it wasn't Emma.
Or was it Phil?
It was Eugene, another little kid.
Oh, okay.
Like, because she's getting ready to open the secret room, and then Eugene kind of just walks in and says, by the way, I found this, and it was the key. Which, by the way, really clever from Dawn when he just is, like, looking down the hallway, and then he just runs at her, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry. Yeah, it was in that moment when he took the key.
Pretty good pickpocket.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point off screen, Dawn, like, put the key on the ground somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
For a kid to...
Because Gilda had already said something to the effect of, we've already returned the key.
Yeah.
Which I want to point out, something that did strike me as a little bit odd. So, in that little secret room of Mama's, she's got, like, all these toys that she snatched away from the children. Like, the big one being Connie's little bunny. It makes me wonder, why is she keeping so many trophies? Like,
yeah, that's exactly what I'd call them, trophies.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of two things. It's either trophies or memories. Because honestly, she seems like she's genuinely caring for the kids while she's raising them.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, it seems like a little bit more than a facade.
I agree. It is interesting. Like, she wants to give these kids... I think that she wants to give these kids the best life that she can while they're still alive.
Yeah, it's probably like a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
Like a farmer, at least a good one.
Yeah.
They want to raise their cows in a happy environment and give them a nice life. And a lot of farmers will be friendly with their livestock.
Yeah, because they want them to grow. Because they want them to grow up healthy. And I think that for a lot of them, like, I think that even she, like, a lot of farmers, like, oh, don't get attached to your livestock. I think that on some level, though, she is still attached to them.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about the whole trophies thing, and it's like, it's not like any of these kids were particularly gifted or anything, like saying, oh, look at this, these are the fruits of my labor and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's not, like, proud.
Yeah.
About, like, killing them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I don't, it's interesting. Mama is very difficult to read. She's spooky as all hell, but...
I think she's also an outlier in terms of mamas.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that she doesn't really operate under...
the same rules.
Yeah, because like, she's in trouble because the kids are going to escape. She doesn't try to, like, just immediately kill all the kids or whatever. She wants to keep doing things her way. Even if that means maybe getting caught in the process.
Exactly.
That's exactly what Crone wants.
Yeah, which... this whole episode, like, after, like, Dawn finally, like, freaks out and, like, just punches Norman in the face, I want to point out, like, before he does that, like, because Norman was the one to tell them, the expressions, just like the close-up on their eyes, and, like, how wide and absolutely terrified they were. For one, that was really well handled, but then when it cuts back to Norman, you see, like, these dark circles under his eyes. Like, it was absolutely harrowing for him to tell the truth. And then Dawn punches him in the face. And then punches Ray in the face, too.
Yeah, which they deserved it.
I mean, they did. They absolutely did. He was about to punch Emma in the face. And this episode, though, I was on edge. I was thinking, like, oh my god, it's like, these camera angles, I do not trust these camera angles. They give me the impression that someone's watching them.
Yeah, I think by the end of this series, I'm going to be off the chair.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm slowly getting more and more on the edge of the chair.
Yeah.
And eventually the chair is going to be in the other room. Yeah. And I'm going to be in a sitting position in front of the TV.
Yeah, this Like, I cannot believe, like, and I was eventually, it was like, okay, these camera angles, they're just really giving me the impression. It's like, why is somebody looking through a window? Like, why are we focusing on this window? It's just like this. It's like, I was just, like, nervous. I'm like, is somebody watching them? Is somebody watching them? Like, were there more than one? Is there more than one person watching them? It just got me freaking paranoid. And at the end, I turned out to be right. Because freaking in one of the most unsettling, like, reveals ever, Crone reveals that she knows everything.
Yeah. Which, I don't know if they're gonna deny it, or actually, because he's like, I'll help you. If
It's like, let's join forces.
Yeah, which I don't trust her.
I don't trust Crone either. Like, at the same time, like, I'm worried. Just like that little bit where they're just walking through the forest, and then, like, as soon as they pass that tree and you see, like, her outfit, you're just like, oh, shit. And then all of a sudden...
So I think the scene I'm most excited for to come up is, I can't wait to see the moment, if they do escape, I can't wait to see the moment they escape, and the conflict that's going to happen between Ray, Norman, and Emma about leaving everyone behind. Mm-hmm. Because Emma's not going to let that happen. I doubt Norman's going to go against Emma's wishes. Mm-hmm. But so I think if this is going to be, they're going to try and slowly convince Ray to hopefully get to take more people along.
I think Ray is prepared to die, actually.
You think he's going to die to save everybody?
I think so. Like, because, for one thing, like, when Norman was just kind of looking around under his bed, like, and he sees, like, all these, like, different things. We don't know what he saw yet, for one thing, but he's just like, all this stuff that, for us, huh? You really are amazing. But then, just, like, the conversation with Mama, like, the whole, for one, he's feeding her fake information, like, it's like, oh, by the way, Norman's planning to kill you, which I'm pretty sure that isn't a thing that's been established yet. Like,
yeah, it is. They're because he's like, Norman's gathering, like, the all the poisons and stuff.
Yeah,
he's taking them away from the kitchen. Mm-hmm. To the he's gonna kill you plan is a distraction. Yeah. So they're all in.
No, I know it's not. So it is just bait. It's just a fake plan.
Exactly.
And they're going to replace it with something else. It makes me wonder, like, what exactly that is about. Also, like, probably the biggest revelation this episode. The guy who wrote all the books, like, I don't remember his name right off the top of my head.
Oh, William Minerva.
Yes, William Minerva. Like, for one, really clever of Emma to be the one to figure out that it was all Morse code there. Like, they even point that out, like, that it's surprising that Ray didn't pick up on that when he's the one always reading. I think they just wanted to give Emma some spotlight and actually show that she's actually also really, really smart.
She's smart.
She is.
She's kind of an airhead.
Yeah, she is. Like, I agree with that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, it's like, this was definitely Emma's moment to shine. Like...
Yeah, so the whole Morse code thing made me double think, or, like, think about what the title actually means.
Yeah. Because
originally I heard the title, The Promised Neverland, and I thought the word promised would be, like, the definition as in, promised as in, like, a nice place. Mm-hmm. Like, there's promise in this place. But it turned out the word promise showed up in the Morse code in the books. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that the Promised Neverland is maybe William Minerva is outside and he set up this area for people to go to. And it's like, I promise that this place will be here for you.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Like, and at the same time, like, think about what Neverland is supposed to be. Like, because I'm pretty sure that the whole, like, idea of Neverland refers to Peter Pan's Neverland.
Yeah, like a fantastical place.
Yeah, fantastical place where you won't grow up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or you'll always be happy and it'll be fantastic.
But I'm scared for these kids. Like, I don't, like, the thing that made me think that Ray is probably setting himself up to die, like, is, like, his words in that conversation with Mama, like so the next shipment isn't going to be coming out until January, my 12th birthday, huh? So it's going to be finally my turn to be shipped out. It almost makes me think that he's been wanting to die probably for a long time. And he's probably getting ready to sacrifice himself. Because the thing is, I think that I don't think that Ray ever mentioned anything about himself escaping. His big concern has always been Norman and Emma, it seems. Because he always says, you two. Like, I think that... So, it's not so much the three of them anymore. It's you two. Like, as in, I'm probably not going to be the one to escape here. Like, I don't plan on it.
Only time will tell.
I'm fascinated. I really want to see where this goes. So, next up, the Quintessential Quintuplets. Now, we finally got introduced to steaks in this series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there are finally steaks.
Delicious steaks.
But the stakes in this series now are... So I heard midterms are coming up. It's like, if any of them fails their next exam, then I'm going to have to fire you.
I got Uesugi's first response is to call their dad father.
Yeah, it's just like and then it's hilarious. The dad on the phone's like, "There's no reason for you to call me father," and then Itsuki's response is, "There's no reason for you to call him father." So
yeah, foreshadowing, he's gonna be marrying one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty funny. This series does a pretty good job of like subverting a lot of expectations with harem tropes. I think maybe because. There was that bit, if you remember, when they were saying, let's all go get parfaits. And you think that when it's like, hey, if you don't join us, we're going to leave you behind. You see him smile. And usually that's a sign like, okay, he's going to go get parfaits. But then when it cuts, he's just walking home getting ready to study. Yeah, exactly. And then Itsuki runs up and is all like, you were supposed to go with them.
The tropes denote that you should have to go with them.
Exactly. I think this show does a really good job of knowing what the tropes in harem are, but also finding ways to cleverly play with them. Again, I did not give this show enough credit when I first read its description. So
we get a little more information on Ichika this episode. We got more last episode how she did the whole movie thing, but she told all her sisters about it, and they were like, "Oh, that's awesome! Give us an autograph."
Yeah, exactly. They were willing to support her,
but she's like it seems like every chance she gets, she's kind of shoving Miku onto Uesugi.
She is like the ultimate wingman. Yeah. Like I think she just wants I think that she wants Miku to be happy because I think it's as clear as day to her that Miku has a crush on him. Like, not that he's ever going to realize that, or as he's put it, he has no interest in dating, so I don't think he wants to notice. But yeah, Ichika just wants Miku to be happy, like always trying to push them close together and stuff like that. Basically getting him to stay overnight. Mm-hmm. It's like, and then her saying like, while he's here, you might as well make a move on him now.
I liked when they were on the balcony, Uesugi realizes how hard that Ichika's trying, because and he like pats her head, and she gets all embarrassed. And then it's just like, let's go back, let's get inside. It's cold. It's cold? Like, it certainly doesn't feel cold. Nino,
you bitch!
Being the freaking main antagonist in this show.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I want to point out, I said before, it's really cool that Futaro has, actually a personality and stuff like that, and he's not just a blank piece of cardboard, or always really a nice person, because, that scene when he's basically telling Itsuki just to shut up and do what he says, I'm like, oh shit, that wasn't the right thing to say at all. It's just like, oh god, that's gonna be...
He panicked, because he's like, that's his job. That's how he's gonna end up paying back all the debt he has to pay.
Exactly.
So he showed flaws, as a person do.
Yeah. Well, again, it's actually nice to see a character in this kind of series actually have a personality.
That being said, we can't get away from all of the tropes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this wouldn't be a harem show, where Miku wakes up, has to go to the bathroom, then she's like, by habit, she
goes back into her room.
Yeah, into her bedroom, and then
where he's sleeping.
There's the whole moment of what's happening? Why is there a girl in my bed, even though I'm in her bed?
Yeah, and it's actually hilarious. He's like, so this is what they call a bed, huh?
Yeah.
Because
it's so fucking poor.
Yeah, since he's poor, they probably just sleep on the floor or on futons or
some shit. Oh, my lord, this bed is so nice. It has blankets and everything.
And it's actually a little cool detail. Like, I don't know if you noticed a little thing about their doors.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
How each of the doors have stripes that correspond to their number. Like Ichika has 1 door, Nino has 2 stripes, and it just keeps going on. The other interesting thing when Nino finally finds out about what Futaro is hiding, I was not entirely sure like how they were going to pull it off, because like when you hear Itsuki at the door talking, I kind of like watching it again. I was like, okay, hi, totally not Nino. But then I listened to it. It's like, well, if you listen carefully, it's actually like the sound is sort of distorted because of the glass on the other side. So I could understand, since they're all quintuplets, they have similar voices. I could see how you'd mistake one for another. I actually thought that was a clever little detail.
Yeah, she's pretty clever.
Yeah.
And oh my god, when she shows herself, the fucking smug levels are off the charts.
I know, right? And I love how when he goes back to the study group with everybody, like, and he's making a big show about it, to basically saying it's like, okay, you're going to try not to study, and you're just going to make a show out of it. So I'm going to make you listen to me.
Fucking force the information into her brain.
Exactly. Like, this
is the thing.
This is
everyone study this about this topic.
Debate.
Debate.
Which I will say that he actually, like the Japanese voice actor, props to actually saying it clearly. Like, it still sounded like, it's like, okay, clearly it's an accent.
It sounded very sensual.
Yeah, just debate.
Debate.
But the whole like, oh my god, there's a girl in this bed now with me. We're gonna see how that resolves next episode.
And how it resolves. It's gonna resolve probably like most other... Well, I don't know. This show's been subverting my expectations a lot, so yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
So, next up is the Rising of the Shield Hero.
All I have to say is, ravioli, do not lose the chicken lolly.
Yeah, this episode was an interesting filler-esque episode.
Like, no, it totally was a filler episode, because because think about the whole point of this episode. It was just to try and get Philo a dress.
Yeah, well, I would not call it entirely a filler episode, because there was a lot of important things that happened, like, he got the deed to the mine. Yeah, he got the deed to the mine. He got like an in with the traders organization. Yeah, he ended up helping another guy. It's gotten to the point where they call him like our winged savior, something like that. He robbed a group of bandits in probably one of the most clever ways ever. Like, because I don't know if rob is the right word. I'd like to say liberated stolen goods. He robbed them. He robbed from the robbers. And it was hilarious because he realized right from the get-go, it's like, okay, when you say you're going to let us leave with our lives, that means you're going to take everything but our lives, right? And then that's exactly what he does when he's like, well, because it's like, oh, we were just attacked by the shield hero. And he's like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to kill you then. Like, I have to look out for my best interests after all. Yeah, it's showing off his character. Yeah, it's like... Again, I think it's absolutely wonderful that he's not your typical isekai protagonist. Like, he is kind of an asshole. He's just somebody who's just kind of jaded and cynical. And also, Raptalia got totally daughter-shunned. Oh my god, so hard. Yeah. It's like, are you my father, master? No, you're my property. And what about, and... little subtle detail, like, I'm sure you noticed this when the dress lady, like, had called him father, you see, like, Raptalia get, like, super, like, blushy and stuff like that. Like, she was thinking, oh my god, she probably thinks that me and Naofumi are married. Mm-hmm. And then the whole... fucking daughter zone! Yeah, it's like, nah, you're just... It's like, I see her more like my daughter. It's like, I'm not your daughter! Absolutely savage. No, I think it's a nice thing though that he doesn't see her as a romantic interest. Like, maybe I hope it doesn't go that route. I really don't want it to. Why? Well, mainly just because of the whole, like, the nature of their relationship. She's his slave. I think that's already a kind of just a major red flag, and it's not. As I've said before, their relationship isn't necessarily most healthy. There's also the fact that she's 6,
Yeah. Yeah, that too. Wait, is she only 6?
She's really young. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's,
Technically, I mean, like, officer, she has the body of a full-grown woman. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, alright, that's absolutely fair. But, I think that the really cool thing about this series is the fact that now Fumi goes to, like, just such great lengths to actually, like, improve his reputation. Like, and just, like, it's almost like, I guess it's not necessarily a revenge story, but I kind of would call it a little bit of one. Gives me very much like Count of Monte Cristo vibes. I don't know if you ever watched Gankutsuo or read Count of Monte Cristo or seen any of the movies, but it's very much like him just trying to get back at the world, pretty much. So it's a revenge. I guess it's almost like a revenge story on a much grander scale. Like he's trying to get revenge on the world itself. In a not like I'm gonna kill everybody like sort of way, just like I'm gonna prove them absolutely wrong. They were wrong about me.
Yeah, it's not so much revenge; it's just proving people wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
He's really smart about trading because when he goes to help the guy who needs to bring medicine to his mom, he doesn't do it for free.
Yeah.
Because when you do something for free, everyone considers it charity. Mm-hmm. And in the end, if you do something where you get something out of the deal as well, it makes the other group feel better because it's like, well, I didn't just do that for charity. We had an equal exchange.
Yeah, it's like, and like, because even the guy was worried about, like, I spent the last of my money to buy this medicine. It's just like, okay, well, don't worry about that. I'll just, it's like, you can pay me in goods. Just don't try to weasel your way out of it. Mm-hmm. But then, and so he kind of put his mind at ease a little bit. And then when he's like, you go boil some water, I'll give your mom the medicine. And so it's like, don't worry, I'm not going to charge you anything more for it. Like, I think that was pretty cool that he'd already kind of honored his agreement. Like, that he'd already set in place.
He's making himself into a person on the same level as everyone else instead of, like, this, like, deity hero that shows up and does everything for everybody. Kind of grows more of a personal interaction between them.
Yeah, he's definitely more in tune with the common people. Or the middle class. He's not like some deity.
But the actual like dungeon part of this episode was it was pretty filler, like generic. Like, yeah, we're in a dungeon. Oh, there's some bad things, and they're saying bad things about us. Dispel illusion.
Yeah, dispel illusion, and then although they did kind of hint at something potentially bad in the future, like they were, because he heard about all the rumors that what all the other heroes were doing, and Motoyasu went to the starving village and gave them some miracle crop.
Yeah, I'm almost positive at this point the miracle crop was the seed from the chest.
Which is supposed to be cursed and some twisted reflection of their wish that nobody will ever starve.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be a point later on. But they got the gemstone, and then made the outfit, and Philo looks like, I don't know, there's like this angel girl in like Disgaea 3?
I think so, yeah. I don't know her name.
Yeah, she's adorable. She looks like a little angel.
Yeah, which, again, even the shop owner basically says that was the whole point. Yeah. I wanted to like draw on her angelic charm as much as possible.
Yeah, I like how the shop owner is pretty much just like a clothing otaku.
Yeah, a clothing otaku and probably a little bit of a lolicon.
Yeah. But once again, as I said about Watanen and Uzumade, it's fine as long as they're the same gender.
And yeah, and to another extent, happy sugar life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure, yeah.
All right. So last up on our list is Run with the Wind. All right. This episode was mainly just an angsty one. Like,
yeah. The twins are, well, they're concerned, but they're concerned in a very reasonable manner.
Like, they feel like they were tricked. Like, because, and I think that, I think ultimately this series is just about, as I've said before, this series I think is going to be more about the journey, not so much the destination. Because it's the journey of how they got to the Hakone Ekiden and how they were actually able to run it in the first place. And they're pretty blessed to actually do that, which even Prince said that. Prince of all people. The person who was like most against it. Like, and he's like, we worked so hard to get to this point. Like,
and he's saying it would be a disservice to everyone else that wants to do it.
Exactly.
If they didn't try hard and just do it anyways.
Yeah. I'm actually impressed with how far Prince has come, not just as a runner, but as just a person.
Topic of every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all the characters have grown, but he's definitely the character that has grown the most, I think. I wouldn't say he's
I don't know. Either him or Kakadu.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Kakadu's grown just in a different way.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, like, my favorite scene in this episode probably was the twins kind of kicking around the ball in the field, and you just hear Kakadu run up like, "Hey!
Shota! Who crashes a soccer game?"
He just fucking chases after him, smiling.
Yeah, it's like...
Because, like, they're not getting away.
Yeah, just like, he's running at it while smiling. It's like, he's one of the best in the country. It's like, there's no way we're gonna outrun him. Well, you have to try, just run! And the whole time, like, a lot of this episode, I think, was just an excuse to, like, show off production IG's, like, scenery animation.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Like, just some of the shots of the water, like, the brief, and I mean very brief, like, shots of the water are just so gorgeous. Like, again, I think it was just production IG just flexing their environmental artist muscles. And then we got to see a little bit of Sakaki being Sakaki. He's kind of a douche still.
They did a good job of showing off the team's growth, though, because he came up and taunted everybody, and like nobody responded to it at this point. Because before, everyone got all pissed, or Kakuru almost threw hands.
Yeah, exactly. I think that that was really cool. Like, I mean, Sakaki did bring up some interesting points, though, because he's like, what's really the point in running and trying to get up against the seeded teams when most of your strongest runners are going to either be gone next year, so it's not really going to matter. He's basically trying to say that he's basically of the opinion that the destination is the only thing that really matters here. And meanwhile, Haiji is trying to figure out like what exactly the journey is all about. Like, and he tells the twins that, and it was like, and he basically said something to the effect of, I understand that you're frustrated. I don't entirely know the answer either, but I want you guys to just join me on this.
Yeah, just trying to convince them that he wasn't trying to trick them. Is what he told them. He's just doing this whole thing to find out the answer to his question. There was a little scene with Hana,
which was super adorable. Actually,
Hana actually cheering the twins back up.
Yeah,
but like near the end of that, when they started talking about like, oh yeah, Hana's adorable, she's helping us through all this stuff.
Like
she started crying.
She kind of started to realize just how much she's actually contributed. Like,
I don't think that's it. I think it's sadness.
You think so?
Yeah, I think she's upset about something, because that was not like a happy cry face. She was like looking down at the ground and not smiling at all.
Yeah, that's true. And then we've got something that we've been dreading for a while. Haiji's going in for surgery, it seems.
Well, I don't know if it's surgery, but he definitely went into the doctor's office.
It said orthopedic surgery wing.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like...
So he could be getting his leg checked out again, but...
I feel like the main thing is that he's going to be told not to run.
Do you think that... I've actually had an idea about that. Do you think that he's actually not going to be able to run, and then Fujioka is going to actually step in and help them?
Yeah, because that could be a thing, because Fujioka did show up.
Yeah, towards the end of the episode. Yeah, exactly, and I think...
Fujioka's... Isn't he on his own team?
Yeah, he is, but yeah. I don't know. That was another thing that Sakaki had pointed out. Like, if even just one of you is not able to like run the race, then it's gonna be for absolutely nothing. Yeah,
I think that the main conflict is probably gonna be Haiji being told he shouldn't run, and he's gonna run anyways.
Yeah,
because like this is so important to him. It might even like damage his ability to run at all in the future if he does this.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it might be a situation. Like, I was thinking that if he can't run and somebody else has to do it for him, I think he would be able to look back on and say like how hard he tried and how much that journey meant to him as a person, like, and how much ultimately like he helped everyone else that was involved in that race. So I think that he might find his answer through that, if that's the route they decide to go. I don't know what route they're gonna go here, because it could be possible that Haiju's not going to be able to run. He might be able to, though, so we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, there's like 5 more episodes, and I doubt all the episodes are going to be the race. It's probably going to be some aftermath, etc., etc. So that's gonna do it for week 7, winter 2019. We're getting closer to the end of the season.
Yep, we've got 5-6 episodes for most series. So.
Yeah, we're gonna be probably within like the next few weeks. We're gonna be putting out our preview. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be spring
2019. Yeah, spring 2019.
So excited to see all that new stuff.
We are also currently still working on our review of Sirius the Jaeger. Like, we are still working out the script and stuff like that. We're going to be getting back to work on that here pretty soon. Hopefully that'll be out in a month or so.
Yeah, I think we're planning on releasing that around like sometime next month.
Yep. Yeah. So look forward to that. Like, we had a lot of fun watching that show. We hope that you guys are going to tune in for that. I am looking forward to talking about it.
Mm-hmm. So we will see you guys next week.
See you next week, everyone. Take care of yourselves.